All right, let's start off with our first big story. The bombardment of militant camps in Arepo in Ogun State has taken a new dimension, with troops beginning ground action against pipeline vandals.
Acting Director Defense Information Brigadier General Arepo Abubakar said soldiers and other security personnel have been deployed to the area to forestall any surprise attacks by the militants. Abubakar also revealed that some of the vandals fled Arepo to Tongeji, an island off the coast of Badagry. Nigerian Air Force says it will continue to carry out aerial strikes day and night on militant camps in the creeks of Arepo in Ogun State and Ikorodu, that's in Lagos State. Operation Awashe is meant to flush militants using the creeks as the beachhead for their operations. The force also released a video of its recent raid on Arepo, as Stephen Hussein reports.
The operation against militants and oil pipeline vandals in the creeks of Lagos and Ogun States has entered another phase. For several days, the Nigerian Air Force has bombarded several camps within Arepo. The bombardment has resulted in the destruction of several structures established by the so-called militants, as can be seen in this video released by the Air Force.
It is something that has been on. If you check that video that we released again yesterday, you're going to see those people, they have constructed observation posts, something like looks like a penthouse. So they are looking out to see whether people are coming or not, to be able to kind of protect their own activities. And again, you will find weapons. There is a boat that you have an anti-aircraft gun mounted on it. Then you see the guy inside that boat again bending down to pick a weapon. The guy that was moving on that platform to the observation post also is armed, and you see him carrying bandalia of arms around him. These are very serious activities that are happening, and the military of course cannot fold his hands to watch these things continue.
Nigeria's oil company pipeline traverses the area of the operation, and there have been concerns over the precision of the attacks to avoid damaging the crude oil infrastructure underground.
This operation, I must assure Nigerians, is carefully planned. And what that simply means is that we are careful to know what to strike, that is what to take off, and the kind of weapon that we are going to use.
This video by the Air Force shows how the operation was conducted. Before the bombardment, the Beechcraft was deployed for surveillance of the targets. The information it brought back informed the choice of aircraft and weapon deployed in the operation. The bombardment will continue until the authorities are satisfied the so-called militants have been flushed out of the area. But residents outside the creeks fear the fleeing militants may come after them. Sifon Esien, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, with us in the studio to discuss this now is a security expert, Adetayo Oluwase. It's good to have you in the studio right now.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Right now, let's start it this way. We are seeing military bombardment and military action around Arepo and Ikorodu area, as the case may be. But before now, we have always heard reports of militants, pipeline vandals, all for the past few years. Why has it taken so long for the military to react now?
Thank you very much. I think largely it has to do with one, understanding what is actually going on in there. There have been lots of conflicting information as to the structure in that particular area. I know if a business is paying, you get quite a whole lot of people will be involved, including security agencies that are giving support. Well, I think what we have now is the willingness now on the side of the government to say, irrespective of those, whoever is behind this, we are going to get them out. And because they've taken their business now far beyond just vandalizing pipelines now into sacking communities, killing people. Now we're seeing security agents now being killed, and almost all security agencies have suffered casualties from those people. So when you now have group of criminals that have become so daring to this extent, I think it's just high time that government has to do something about it.
All right, joining us from our Abuja studio is the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force Group, Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa. Good morning, Captain, for joining us on TVC Breakfast. The question is, why did it take the security forces, the security agents, this long to react?
Thank you very much. I think Sheyi gave an insight into what you can assume to be a seeming delay on the part of the political leadership. We must get something clear that before military can be deployed, you need the consent of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Military doesn't just come out of his barrack and involve in operation until there's a need for that and the military is called out of the barrack, meaning that there will be a presidential order that is requesting that the military be involved in a particular operation. So like Sheyi said, you can't rule out the fact that maybe before now the activities of those vandals and criminals in Arepo had not really hit the roof. But in recent time, there seems to be a new dimension to their menace within that particular environment. Apart from bunkering, you begin to see cases of armed robbery and kidnapping. That actually brought a lot of concern to the government, and I want to believe that necessitated the recent decision by the federal government to require that the military be involved in that operation. If the military is not called to act, we do not come out of the barracks.
Okay, how would you describe your collaboration with other security agencies? Captain Famuyiwa.
It's been a very wonderful and effective. Yeah, it's been very effective. You can see people who have been in a particular location operating for so many years have been dislodged in less than a week. There was a recent video, the latest video that we released yesterday showed that the camps have been set ablaze. The vandals are fled out of that place, and so it's been very effective.
All right, Mr. Sheyi, do you think the collaboration has been effective, and do you think the lives of civilians are safe?
Yeah, I think they must have done lots of reconnaissance before they actually, moved into the operation ground. And I believe that so far, military, they've been having this, fantastic collaboration. But I think they still have to do more,
right.
Because apart from the aerial bombardment, there is need for serious mop-up operations around that area. We need to understand that there are people already among them that are living in that particular community, that are resident there, that are part of this menace. In fact, it's like a business to those who are living, some of the people living around there. And it's not only those 4 camps, because we still have Ijedodo and Festac camp, which is around that Festac area, which is different from the one they actually attacking right now, which I believe that because from the information we gathered, some of these people left those areas before that area. But according to the military, they say 4 camps, but the camps are actually much more than that. So they still need to do more. So what I would just advise is that they need to intensify and allow the ground troops, especially the Navy and the police and the DSS to jointly move into the creeks now and be able to clean up the area.
All right, let me bring in Group Captain Famuyiwa here. When you talk about bombardment, area bombardments, that has to do with lots of bombs involved and maybe things we may not even have an idea of. But the concern here will be some of these installations are delicate. Some of them are very inflammable. How is that, what concerns or what's the strategy the military is using to ensure that the militants...
You're a little bit low, I'm not hearing you properly.
Okay, I wonder if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Group Captain Famuyiwa, can you hear me now?
Maybe a little bit louder.
Okay, all right. Now, I'm asking, generally, I'm saying that what is the strategy the military is using to ensure that pipelines are not bombarded at the course of this action generally?
Yeah, we are very much cognizant of the fact that the majority of the places where those vandals operate is along the NNPC pipeline. And so we are careful again in our choice of weapon. And that's why if you say the first video that we released on the activities of the vandal in that area, there's a portion of that clip that shows strike. If you don't look deep very well, you may not be able to see that there was really an impact there. We are careful in the choice of weapon, and that's why we've not used bomb throughout that operation, because if you have to use bomb, the impact that you're going to have is going to be very great, and that again could burst the pipeline. We wouldn't want a situation where you have to start grappling with the problem of environmental pollution and some other stuff. So bombs are not used. Basically, I think we've used more of rockets and the anti-personnel weapon in that particular environment. So the pilots are professionals, they are highly trained. Again, we have a reasonable knowledge of the layout of the pipeline in that area, and that's why when Sheyi was talking, he said, the military said we had just 4 camps.
Yes.
No, what we said was that the camps that were earmarked for immediate neutralization strike were 4.
Okay.
And that was based on the analysis of the intelligence report that we got from the surveillance aircraft. There are a number of camps there quite all right, but in terms of the strategic importance of those locations, those 4 designated Alpha Bravo Delta Charlie target were more important for immediate neutralization, and that was exactly what we did.
Also, following what Sheyi also said, that you mentioned that some of these militants are already domiciled in the communities that they are part of them. So do you suggest that beyond the bombardment, some kind of socio-economic approach would also work here?
I didn't get that question, please.
My question is, beyond the bombardment, the area bombardment, are you also thinking some kind of socio-economic approach where you have to work with people, galvanize the stakeholders so you can fish out those who are already members of the society, of the community?
That's correct. We must remember that internal security challenges are not, the approach to solving such problems are not only military. There is enough efforts to collaborate with community leaders and the general public in that area. Just yesterday, we made a press release in the Nigerian Air Force requesting that community leaders and the people within the vicinity of that operation who have useful information about the fleeing vandals should oblige the security agency such information. So we need that collaboration. Let's not forget that the people who are operating in that area didn't get there one day. And I can tell you that those living in that environment know a number of these people. Yeah. In fact, from the clip that we released, if you look at where the settlement is and where the vandals are operating, it's not too far from each other. So there is enough evidence to believe that the people in the area, they know the vandals, they know the criminal. And unless they oblige us to information to be able to track down these people, particularly those who were lucky to escape, there's a tendency that these people may want to come back. And that's why the Nigerian Air Force has taken it upon itself to continue the surveillance activities in this particular area until we are sure that these people are out. Like I said earlier, the clip that we released yesterday showed that those camps are already being set ablaze. And so the mop-up action has commenced. At this point, I think we need to give a lot of kudos to the men of the Nigerian Navy, particularly the men of the special boat services who went into the creek to set those camps ablaze. We cannot use bomb, and that means that the only way we can be able to effectively mop up that area is by doing it manually. They are going to each of those camps, setting them ablaze one by one to make sure that those guys do not have any reason to come back to that place. So apart from the mop-up which has started, we are taking over that particular environment, meaning that the people, the vandals, have fled that place, they have left the place. We are also collaborating with the people to make sure that they do not come back. I mean, those living, the residents within that area, and the community leaders.
Okay, Group Captain Famuyiwa, will come back to you on this. Now, let's play you a report. Recently, Governor Ambode of Lagos State was at the place, and let's see his visit to the place. Let's watch this.
On our part as a government, whatever it is that it takes to take the militants and the vandals off Lagos, we are going to do it. If it means shutting down some locations where they seem to be hibernating in terms of any commercial trade, we will do it and make sure that we guarantee the lives of our people, and then whatever it is that it needs to take in terms of financial support to the security agencies.
About maybe even 500 meters as a rule to all these our creeks should be cleared, so that they will not even have any place to hide under. You see, all these are both because if you look at it, between this place, you look at all the houses and everything here. So clearly, there's an invitation to treat, even though they are criminals. So they have a place to quickly maybe, they seek a boat there. If this place is cleared, 500 meters to the creeks, then you know that it's clear that you cannot even hide there.
All right.
All right.
So good news there. You have the chief executives there giving their support and collaboration. The Governor Ambode says that, and Governor Amusu also said that. But beyond what the chief executives, what do you think the people, because according to some reports that we got, some people are afraid, those who live in that environment, that they are afraid. Do you think the army have done enough to assuage the fear or allay the fears of the people who live in that area?
I think they've been able to establish something now that, after all, those people are not God. They've been demystified. It means that they can actually be taken out. So that is one good thing there, and that the people now have the belief that government can always come to their head. Because the general belief then was that these people, they are too powerful. Even the military, the police cannot. You need to remember that at a point in time they killed 4 engineers of the NMPC when they went to go and repair. Police went there, they killed them. A week before, the 7 DSS personnel went missing. 2 police officers too also went missing. Civil defense personnel too were killed. So that's something that enough to create fear in the mind of the people, that these people cannot actually be removed from that. But with this now, I think people will begin to develop that trust now in government's ability to be able to protect them. And like the spokesperson said, the military are already there now, and I know this will be sustained. I know the military, they are going to build military formation there to make sure that nobody, people don't go back to that place to start operation. And I'm so sure that with what the Ogun State governor also said, that the security agencies are also going to build up posts there. So I think it's enough assurance now coming from government to the people that you can now go back to your normal life. Okay.
Group Captain Famuyiwa, when you were talking earlier on, you talked about the fact that where these operations are taking place are not far from where the natives live, and the natives know some of these people. So by now we expect that maybe there should have been some arrests or finding out how complicit the natives of the communities around this area, how they are in this operation.
A number of arrests have been made. That has been reported in the media. And I want to believe that by the time those people are interrogated, there's a possibility that they can further elicit information that will help in the arrest of accomplices, or if there are any other person who probably maybe is on the run now that has been involved in the illegal activities in that area. We should be able to get that maybe in the coming weeks. Okay. I want to believe. Okay, what about reports of those militants fleeing to Snake Island, for instance? What does your operation also cover that particular part of Nigerian borders, and how porous do you think those borders are, and the re-emergence of these militants even up to now? Yeah, it's very possible that those who were lucky to escape from Arepo may want to relocate to other areas. That already has been anticipated in our operation, and that's why the ongoing surveillance activities has been extended to other areas. There are a number of areas that actually we're covering. It's not just only Arepo. There are so many other areas that is under surveillance right now. We do this, the Nigerian Air Force is doing this both day and night to make sure that the vandals do not use the cover of the night to be able to hide or to regroup. And the whole essence of the continuous surveillance activities is to be able to monitor them, to ensure that new camps are not coming up and that they do not have any opportunity to be able to converge anywhere, whether for a reprisal attack or for them to be able to unite once again and spring a surprise attack anywhere. That has been taken into consideration.
All right.
And let me say again, this is. Can I go on?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
At this time, I think the public is going to do well to be able to provide information to the security agencies. And that's why we're saying that in internal security challenges, we need the people. The people need to be able to provide information for the security agencies to be able to act promptly and accurately also. So I want to use this media to appeal to the community leaders in that area, whether in Arepo or in other areas where these vandals are likely to come up, to please be on the lookout for new faces in their community and to use that opportunity to provide such information to the security agencies.
All right, before I let you go, is there a time frame by which this operation will come to an end?
There's no time frame for this operation. The prerogative of the federal government here is to make sure that this problem is put behind us once and for all. And whatever is going to take, however long it's going to take, the operation is going to continue, because that is the resolve of the federal government concerning this issue.
All right, Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, thank you very much for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the military bombardments and all the activities going around Arepo and Ikorodu areas in Ogun State and Lagos State. And we were discussing with the Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, and he was with us from our Abuja studio earlier on, even though he just left now. And we have in the studio Adetayo Oluwase. He's a security expert, and we've been looking at this. Now, let me take you to my wall, and then let's have a better understanding of what we are talking about in here. All right. All right, I need my producers to put me on this. All right, fine. Now, if you see what we have here, the militant activities generally in Arepo and Ikorodu. Now, this map shows you that the part of Lagos State and Ogun State are certainly kind of interwoven, and Arepo and Ikorodu are riverine communities sharing boundaries with Ogun and Lagos State. Arepo in Ogun State, excuse me, shares boundary with Ikorodu in Lagos State, and all these people here live like they're communal people, and they live as one. Now let's move on, having understanding. Now, apart from being riverine communities, Arepo and Ikorodu communities inhabit at least 10 million people, most of who work in Lagos State but live in Ogun State. And that perhaps is responsible for the usual gridlock on the roads linking the two communities on a daily basis. Now, if you are around the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you will see lots of people traveling, if I have to put it that way, from Ogun State, and they work in Lagos, and they go back every day, and in the mornings and in the evening you always see the gridlock in there. Let's move on to having understanding better. Now, that perhaps also explains the reason for the intermittent explosions, pipeline vandalism, and the kidnappings in the two areas. Now, unlike Ikorodu, residents of Arepo wake up to a thick cloud of dark smoke billowing from burning, ruptured NNPC pipelines, and gradually the once quiet community, which was made popular by the creation of a journalist estate in the 1990s, gradually turned to a theater of war. You can see all this are some visuals from the area there. This is the scenario sometimes on daily basis around Arepo area, and residents live not far away from some of these scenes like this because of the attacks by vandals on pipelines. Now, in Ikorodu, kidnappings, apart from Arepo, if you move to Ikorodu now, kidnappings, sporadic shooting and vandalism was once the order as well. Until now, residents live in fear and were not sure military help could solve the problem. Now, we had 6 landlords were killed in June. It was on record. 2 hotels attacked in June as well, and about 15 residents also killed. All this were based on militant activities in Ikorodu area generally. Now, if we move on. Now, in September last year, the militants killed some state security officials in Ikorodu. They also went away with their bodies. It's also on record, certainly, and that time it was there were lots of activities of militants in Ikorodu area. Now, and just last week, a boat carrying 6 school children was attacked by militants transporting stolen fuel, and the children died. Now, that also sparked lots and lots of outrage from the people and reactions generally. Now, let's move to you. Apart from this military operation in Arepo and Ikorodu, we see the proactivity of the military. This is not just the only place vandalism is taking place. We have lots of this in the Niger Delta, but we haven't really seen this kind of proactive activity from the military in the Niger Delta.
Okay, we need to look at it critically. The situation here is quite different from what is actually happening there.
Okay.
Now we have the usual bunkering, and later they move into sea piracy. People are not really targeted. Their focus had been towards the oil business directly. But now we have a situation in the southwest now where they are engaging in daylight, daredevil robbery. We saw the incident at Lekki Phase 1 the other time. The bank robberies in Ikorodu, the attack, sacking of communities in Ogijo, Axis, and also Arepo. Sometime last year, a lady, a pregnant woman, was shot dead by these vandals. During a shootout with probably the OPC or so. It has already generated so much heat here because number one, this is new to this particular axis, and then if this unrest in the Niger Delta is now being brought to the southwest, that means that our area of focus is becoming getting wider every day, and it's important that we actually address this. And they are entirely different people, because this, if you look at the people involved, they are Arubo Ijo. Basically those from Ondo State are the one actually carrying out the activities in this part. Yes, you say they are Niger Delta people, but they are not the main core Ijo people. So it's about economic sabotage. It's about restoring law and order in the society. Then the issue of the Niger Delta has more to do with the Niger Delta issue, sea piracy, and then the economic sabotage, as in the fight for freedom or militancy. And that one is actually being addressed right now as we speak. Government has already given them the room now to negotiate, to come into agreement with government and see a way on how to address the situations there. And also the military came out to say, okay, this is like a last chance for you. If you don't accept what our holy branch and accept this option, then we are not going to move into serious. I think this Arepo is just a sign to show that this is what we're capable of doing. That if you don't, we have what it takes to move into the creeks, and then we'll start engaging.
All right, now, but let us give us an understanding. The Arepo and Ikorodu area. Now, how important are these, or how strategic are these areas to the oil business generally, either in Lagos or maybe even to Nigeria?
It's critical because, from Atlasco, where they are pumping this oil, when all those ships they pump it through the pipelines around here into all the depots, supplies Mosimi and other axes like that. So when these areas, remember the other time when that incident happened and the 4 engineers were sent there to go and repair in Arepo and they were killed, there was serious petrol fuel issues in Southwest at that particular time. I mean, Southwest is critical also to the economy of this country. So if you are not having the oil money flowing in, at least the commercial activities of the country that have been bringing revenue to the government should also not be crippled as well. So it's not really about the oil, but it's about the people this time around. People should be able to live in their communities. If they are not sacking communities in the Niger Delta, they shouldn't be sacking communities, in Lagos as it is.
Whichever way, it's not okay to either sack the community or perpetrate such vandalism. But look at the pipelines itself. There have been cases of some of those pipelines obsolete, as it were. Some of them have been there for 30 to 40 years, and they rupture easily. Makes it a lot easier for these vandals to be able to operate. Do you agree?
I do not agree with that. It's just like aircraft, during those aircrafts, they said aircraft can fly for as long as 50 years and even more. So the fact that they have been installed for for a long time doesn't mean that they're actually obsolete, because they are operational, and that's the reason why they are targeting them. And these people are professionals. Many of them, they've worked as contractors to these oil and gas firms in the past, so they know how to work on these things. And over the time, they've trained so many people on how to rupture this pipe, and it's something that it only takes a professional.
It goes beyond just the militants, even to perhaps those who have worked with NNPC in the past. Is that what you're saying?
Over time, people have been trained, and they are still being trained on how to get this thing done. It's not something that it takes a professional to actually open up an oil pipeline and they start siphoning fuel from it.
Okay. So. All right. Now I'm going to make my producers give us this map again. Let's have a look. So other Nigerians who don't live within the region of the southwest, or maybe between Lagos and Ogun State, so they can have a better understanding of now what I'll let them put on the screen. Now, when Ogun State is located in the north of Lagos State, and apart from, if we narrow it down to Arepo, which is a community, a riverine community, is at the northwest of Lagos, and then Ikorodu, on the other hand, is at the east of Ogun State. Now, if you narrow down, these communities are riverine. From the video you can watch now, from the map you can see now, you see how interwoven some of these communities are. You can't even separate between residents of Lagos, apart from the official political maps that divide these people. They live together, they have been one over the years. And apart from that, you will see that there is you will see a road that links, a major road that links Arepo and the Ikorodu area. And these people have lived together and been together, even businesses and all of that they do together. So you can't even differentiate between Ogun State and Lagos State sometimes, or even Arepo and Ikorodu sometimes. So when we talk about oil pipelines, now these are the areas through which the pipelines pass from the Niger Delta and pipe through from Ogun State to Lagos State, and then to the depots in here where it serves Lagos commercial nerve. Now, the major pipelines pass through Arepo and Ikorodu axis, or areas of Ogun and Lagos State generally. Now, certainly as we get along, you will have a better understanding of what we are certainly talking about in here. Now, apart from, we talk about the issue of this militant regrouping. We know that Arepo and Ikorodu are not just because it's a continuous long pipeline. This Arepo and Ikorodu were discovered at the time by the militants, as the case may be. Even though we heard from Group Captain earlier on saying, okay, they will ensure that these people don't regroup. But how, in security terms, how should that be ensured, that these militants, because some of them were just being chased out of the place, not all of them are killed, not all of them are arrested. How is there an assurance that these people don't regroup and then discover somewhere else where the pipelines are?
Well, I don't think that the military operations was actually geared towards killing them.
Okay.
I think it was more of destroying those camps, and discouraged that business, and which that is key. You see, in theft triangle, the most important component there is opportunity. You have the object, you have the motive, and then the opportunity. Object is constant, which is oil here. The motive is the motivation the people, because there is money involved, so people can easily get motivated. But if you remove the opportunity, which is what they've been having in the past, because they've been doing this unabated, so the opportunity is there. So it made it a lucrative business. Now, seeing that governments are ready to pound anywhere they are found now, so the opportunity has been removed now, so they get less motivated. But the object is still there, which is a constant that will always be there. So I think the whole idea about this operation is to actually remove the opportunity. Now it is difficult, it will be difficult in the next 1 year now for someone now to say they want to move into that particular axis now. So the same thing, they have to do the same thing with first axis as well. And also because from what I gather,
by removing the objects, how do
the opportunity.
The opportunity, how do you mean?
Okay, you see, for example, if you put a vital, probably a diamond in here, and then you leave the door open, you've created an opportunity for somebody to come in here and steal. The diamond is the object. The opportunity is the space you've given them to say, oh, let me, I can easily do this without being caught. So that is the opportunity. So when that has been removed now, that if you engage in this, we're going to get you. So it is no longer, easy. You say what really motivates people is the opportunity, the possibility of them carrying it out without being caught. When the chance of being arrested,
sometimes they know if I do this, I can go scot-free.
I can always get away. Either I bribe the police, I can also always bribe my way out of the situation. And even there are so many people that are also, involved that will make sure that I carry out these activities without being caught. So I believe that same thing, because from what we gather, they've moved back to around Ondo axis, and this is what usually happens. They'll begin to engage in other activities like robbery and kidnapping. So I expect a spike in criminal activities in Ondo axis. And this is a call for Ondo State Governor as well to start doing something in his own axis now to ensure that he makes Ondo State now difficult for them to operate. And by the time all the governments start doing this now, they'll discover that I think the game is up. They just have the forced to engage in something. These are people that have been engaged in this for years, so they don't really have any, except those who have invested in some other business like hotels, and so they just have to move in and say, you know what, I think it's high time. Except those who are ready to engage in suicidal operations.
Okay.
That want to.
Let's bring in Kemi Foladeyemo here to give us updates as to how Nigerians are reacting to this and what comments they're making. Kemi.
Indeed, Mike and Busolami, Mr. Shueton, good morning. A lot of perspective has been drawn out already on the program regarding the activities of the military against the militants, of course, in Arepo. And of course, the online community is loud. Kudos. Most of the time, almost all the tweets, almost all the reactions we've gotten online have been kudos. Like this one, Love Milan. When the chips are down, our soldiers always show the stuff they are made of. Kudos. Of course, we should note that it's not just the soldiers who are carrying out these activities to combat the crimes now of the militants on the creeks here in Lagos and Ogun State. So Ayekoto is saying, now a fresh perspective. Some people said that military are killing civilians at Arepo and not militants. And he's asking, has any family said it's looking for someone, enemy of the state? And somebody else now replied saying, that's Murtala Usman. It's their own cup of tea. That's those people saying that the military is perhaps involved in abuse of human rights now. It's their own cup of tea. Let them take their matter to the ICC, that's the International Criminal Court, if they like. But we are supporting the operation. Of course, we've already told viewers that it's codenamed Operation Awashe. And Adini Amos at Mobile Punch is reacting to an online report now by Punch newspaper saying security is paramount and should be timely because no one should deprive people of peace in a sane environment. Now, more celebrations recorded in Arepo from Mr. Jag, who says residents are overjoyed with Operation Awache as each bomb drops on militant enclave residents at Cherin. Well, let's move on. Nigerian armed forces are now trying to enforce their power of defending internal and external aggression against economic saboteurs. That's according to Muhadafa Musa. And then let's take you to Aisha Yusufu. She's a major outspoken campaigner of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. And she's more or less like a lone voice in the wilderness now, saying the military has been indicted now with 100 cases now, killings now of 100 militants killed. So she's saying, Haba Mana, do we need another war? The military is already stretched. What happens to dialogue and more? She received a lot of backlash now from the Twitter community. Look at some of them. At Aisha Yusufu Ofami, where were you when they were kidnapping, killing innocent citizens in Lagos and Ogun? Let Operation Awashi continue. But who is asking, okay, but who is asking, okay, this is not, well, part of it now, and on, it goes on and on now. But she's saying now, perhaps there should have been room for dialogue now. It doesn't appear that that is going down well with many Nigerians. But what's your take now, vis-a-vis all these activities? Where does human rights come in?
Okay, I think the spokesperson, he has been able to, throw more light into this, that they are actually not using military-grade bombs now. That what they are using are rockets, and I know they are targeting with military precision those areas, and they are physically moving there to set those camps ablaze. So, and if an operation is conducted in that way, that means that the number of casualties will be reduced. And
but the militants, do they get killed in the process?
Well, this is an operation,
and that's the question. So
definitely
rights for the militant, according to the rules of engagement. Now, if you follow the rules of engagement, what she's saying from the tweet is there should have been a bit of some kind of dialogue, perhaps Operation Safe Corridor, like we have for the amnesty, repentant amnesty. What happens? Okay,
that is if we are looking at it from the angle of freedom fighters. Now, the issue there is not about freedom fighters. It's not people saying that, oh, we want there is air pollution, whatever. I've not seen anybody in Ogun State or Lagos State shouting that these waters are polluted. We're talking about people that are vandals now, people carrying out economic sabotage, and they didn't stop at that. They are actually killing people. So it's just, I mean, no right for government to just move in and stop. You see, government has a responsibility to protect its citizens, and we should not take that away from them. The people living in that area must be protected. They have also been calling, at least I've seen lots of clips on this station, people shouting, calling for government to come to their aid. So now government, is now out now, responding to their call to say, no one, let's stop this thing. So the issue of dialogue can't come in here now, because it's not about freedom fighting. It's not about people, pressure groups, or civil rights movement.
The Boko Harams are not freedom fighters, but they get Operation Safe Corridor, where if you're repentant, you can come back. Couldn't they have extended that kind of opportunity to the militants?
Yeah, before government said that Boko Haram should actually come out, I think government have been able to show that it's capable of actually decapitating them. So that is to tell them that, come, we have what it is to crush you, but if you are willing to. So this is another sign now to say, they've shown that they can crush. Now, they can now throw, they'll say, you know what, if you want to. But I think the door is still open for anybody who wants to.
All right. Okay, Kemi, let's let you go now.
All right, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, we'll go on a brief commercial break, and then we come back on this. Stay with us. Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and we are discussing the military operation in Arepo community in Ogun State alongside the Ikorodu area in Lagos State. And we have in the studio Adetayo Oluwase, is a security expert. We are discussing this. So we earlier had Group Captain Ayodele Famuyua, who's the spokesperson of the Air Force, being involved in the operations in there. Now, we heard the governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, and the governor of Ogun State, Ibikuna Mosun, earlier on, assuring the people. And we know that security apparatus are in the hands of the commander-in-chief, and all these operations are certainly given the go-ahead from the president. What role does the governors have in ensuring that this operation, where do they come in this kind of operation, if I have to put it that way?
Each state, there is what is called State Security Council, and comprised of the CP, Director, DSS, the military commander, the head of the military formations, depending on how many they have in the states, and also the Navy and the rest that are operating there, where they sit down together and agree on the possible course of action. And if they require to get approval from the federal government, I think the product of that meeting, is being passed across for them to get the desired response that they want from them. I think this is what must have happened in this particular instance, because for the military to carry out such an operation, then such would definitely require approval from the CNC. So I think to me they are involved, and that's why we saw immediate response from the chief executive of both states on this issue. And apart from that, we know that they provide financial support to the security agencies, because these operations like this require funding, because it's not just going in there. You need to sustain it, and lots of things will be involved in terms of logistics and the rest, in which they try to provide. And we need to understand that the people involved are their own citizens. There are certain post-operational issues that will arise, and they need to factor this in from the beginning of the operation to be able to make sure that they cater for the fallout of this in terms of providing like first aid, medical. And I'm very sure that LASEMA or whatever, Lagos State Medical, whatever, would not be far away from the medicals will be there to support in case of casualties and stuff like that. And I know that also the State Emergency Agency too will also be on hand there as well, to ensure that issues arising from there, they are adequately also taken care of. So it requires a huge collaboration from all, both federal and the states. So it's not something.
Is there a possibility that in all of this operation, some civilian lives will be lost? And what kind of compensation, what kind of funding can really make up for their lives? Is there any possibility?
Well, just like someone said on Twitter now, we've not had anyone coming up to say, I've lost someone. In these days of social media, we'll have had so much, hues and cries from every angle that, a pregnant woman or a mother with 6 children was killed, but we've not had anything, which means that by and large, this operation can be said to have been a success, and I'm not praying that we should have. So, but what they need now is our support. Is our support. Lives of every Nigerian, no matter how small, is important, and I believe they are factoring this in their operation. Because when I heard of bomb, I was like, if they're actually throwing bombs in there, there's possibility of of having humanitarian crisis around there. But from what we've heard this morning, that shows that they're actually not using bombs. So probably they're using some ordinances that will just maybe the effect will just be within a short, a small area. So just to create a minimal damage.
And you suppose that those militants will remain in that enclave, knowing that this bombardment is going on, and that if you follow what you've just said now, that the effect of that ordinances wouldn't go far. if I was a militant, perhaps I would make for the door even before it happens and get out of the place.
Like I said before, exactly. That should be the focus now, because we are not actually dealing with foreign aggressors now. We're dealing with our own people. So the focus shouldn't be to kill them. The focus should be to remove the opportunities. And that is what I believe that this operation is actually geared towards, removing the opportunity. Because they, according to them, they did reconnaissance there for about 3 days. And a very smart militant will know that something is going to follow. You know, when you see aircraft continuing to hover around that particular area for, you know, we have the Abulioba camp, the Okeako camp, the Gbolomu and Mawere camp in there, and these are strategic camp. And then when the people there, because they also have you know, observation posts, and at the moment they start saying that these guys are experienced guys, they've been in this business for long, so they'll start, you know, making way, you know, out of that area. And so the whole idea is to clear the place, remove that operational base. And you know, it took them a long time before they built before they, you know, that place was put into place. So for them to reconstruct the place, it would take a long time. So,
okay, now the militant, you just said it took them some time, but the guts by which they operate, the movement of weapons, because the kind of weapons they have sometimes begin to wonder. But it is also said from some reports we have heard in the past that there's some level of colluding with members of the security agencies at the time, as the case may be. Now, are we expecting the military or the police or the DSS or whatever agency is involved to try to purge their own system, to see how they can fish out anyone who has assisted or has benefited from this militant operations?
I think lots of purging had already been done. If you look at it is because of the past collaboration. That's why they've been able to build such structure and such collaboration. To me, I don't think that it exists like the way it used to be in the past. You know, we've read situations in the past where we have, you know, generals. You know, some generals, they say, oh, this particular camp is actually owned by this bunkering activities actually been midwifed by a particular serving military general, and that was where they made their money from. But we don't see that now, because no, the situation has changed from what it used to be in the past, when military was holding sway in the country. Then during the military era, so much that the whole country was being controlled by men in uniform. But and that gave rise to what we have today. But so far so good. The situation has changed. Even the way they dispose this commodity is not like the way it used to be in those days, where you see tankers of fuel moving in and out and nobody dare stop them. Because if you arrest them, you take them to the police station, a general will call and they will release those. So what they do now is just to settle, you know, and it's not the way it used to be before. And I will say the men of the NSCDC intercepting so many of this. We've seen men of the Nigerian Navy intercepting so many of this. We've seen in recent time, we saw the Nigerian Customs, you know, parading boats, you know, intercepted, loaded with, you know, jerry cans of fuel. All those ones are fuels from products of bunkering activities. So there have been serious clampdown over time on their activities, and that's one of the reasons why when they suffer so much frustration, they move into the community and rob banks to be able to sustain their life. It's not really that the business is that booming like it used to be. Okay. Because that's why we see them coming out now to rob banks. And you know, we heard of you know, this man OC. You know, we've read some reports of OC Agbala, and there's one other guy, City Edun. Those are the generals that have been operating, and we've read that some of them have been killed by security agencies. These are people that in time past that nobody dare touch them.
All right. Oluwaseyi Adetayo, thank you very much for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for
coming.
Thank you.
And we also thank Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, spokesman for the Air Force that was being involved in the Operation Awashe earlier on.